Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Thank you for tuning into the channel one more time. I'm going to talk to you guys right now about the Thursday Night Football single game showdown mode for week 3 on DraftKings. We're going to look at this slate. We're going to see what we've got for us in terms of GPPs. I'm going to break down the players in the game. I haven't even really looked at anything yet. This is kind of my first look at it. Appreciate y'all being here. And more than anything else, I appreciate the support that you guys have shown to this channel over the last 6 to 8 weeks since I've been starting up for this football season. It really means a lot. If you like the content and you want to support the channel, please subscribe to the channel, ring that notifications bell, drop a like on this video. All those things, they mean a lot to me. They show that you guys appreciate the content, and it really helps support the channel and helps me do things moving forward, and it costs you $0, just those 3 clicks. So 1, thank you. 2, I appreciate it. 3, let's just get to this game. It's the Browns and the Jets. It's the I don't want to talk. Emmy. It's the Browns and the Jets. I don't want to talk about the Browns and the Jets. I mean, they're terrible. I know people want. There's a $1 million tournament on Thursday. It's like $250,000 the first. All right. Fine. Okay. I'll talk about the Browns and the Jets, but I'm not going to like it. Okay? I'm not going to like it. All right. There's a $1 million tournament. It's $10 to enter, and it's $250,000 to first place. We got the Browns and the Jets, y'all. Thursday Night Football, Island football games. This is what you're going to get a lot of the time. Sunday Night Football, later in the season, Monday Night Football, you're going to get better contests. You're going to get some higher expected team totals. This game is going to have a really low team total. All right? That's what you're going to get here. I think the overall right now is 39 expected points in this game. It's going to be a defensive game. It's going to be a sluggo. You've got one quarterback who's a rookie. You have another quarterback who through 2 weeks in this offense and Tyrod Taylor, they haven't really shown the ability to move the ball consistently. Although they are throwing it, it's going to be an interesting breakdown. So let's kind of look at all the different players in this game first. Because there's a slate and there's $250,000 to be won, so let's try and win it. Tyrod Taylor first. Going to be one of the highest projected players on the slate because there's not a lot of offense to be expected, but he gives you the upside of having a quarterback with the possibility of running a touchdown in, as well as the ability to hit long touchdowns, as we saw last game to Antonio Callaway late in that game. We'll get to Callaway when we get to a little bit lower on the sheet, and we'll see what's going on. 40 and 30 attempts in the first 2 games. First week against Pittsburgh, I understand. Because that was a little bit higher pace and they had to try and do what they had to do. This game, they're going to be back at home. He may throw the ball some more than they will on the road. A lot of the times, teams that are defensive and slow down teams tend to throw the ball less on the road and concentrate more on the run and try and control the clock a little bit more than they do at home. They're a little bit more aggressive at home. It may be the same sort of thing this week. They've lost Josh Gordon from this team. He's moved on to the Patriots, which has opened up more snaps and more targets for some cheap players on the outside, wide receivers, Higgins and Callaway. Callaway is very dynamic, I guess, but he's young. Tyrod Taylor's still one of my more favored players, especially on this slate. At the flex position, where we're going to get 1.5x and the salaries also get 1.5x, I think he's going to be one of your more popular flex plays, because he projects to be one of the highest scoring players. We've talked on the other Showdown videos about wanting to put your highest projected player in terms of raw projection in that captain spot. I think there are 2 guys in this game that make the most sense in terms of having them in the captain spot. One of them is definitely going to be Tyrod Taylor. The other player that I really prefer for the captain spot is going to be Jarvis Landry, just because of this ceiling right here. He only got 7 targets last week. So did Higgins at a much cheaper price. If you want to pay up for Landry, especially with Josh Gordon gone. You know that he's going to play the majority of snaps. You know that he should lead this team in targets by a wide margin. If they throw the ball 35 to 40 times, he should see double-digit targets, as he is their best playmaker on the outside. Touchdown possibility kind of low in this game. So there might be a way in this game that we can go a different route. Sam Darnold, people are going to throw him into the captain spot. They just are. He had 300 yards last week. I didn't think he could get there. He did. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. We're going to talk about the defenses and the kickers. We're going to talk about the basic strategy. I don't see the ceiling here for Darnold, so he's not somebody that I really want to plug into a captain spot. If you want to go a different route, Quincy Enunwa, double-digit targets in both games, and was just missed for a touchdown when he was wide open in the end zone, and Darnold made a horrific pass that missed him in that game. So if you want to plug Enunwa into your captain spot to allow you to afford somebody, because they've jacked up the salaries a little bit for this showdown mode. We've seen that in the last 2 showdown modes where they've made it difficult to go the route that we went before. And the route, what I mean by the route that we went before, we were slamming this guy. We were slamming like the highest projected player, whether you're going to say it's Landry or Taylor. We were also taking 2 players for a cash game lineup from the kickers and the defense. So it was very easy to just slam 2 kickers in. In a low totaled game like this one, I'd probably slam the Browns and maybe one of the kickers. Let's just say Myers, right? So that would leave you with 8,700 to go. Now on a slate like this, I think it might be a little bit different because of some of the values that we have. I'm still going to want the highest projected guy in my cash game lineup in the captain spot, but for tournaments, we can go another route. In terms of cash games, yeah, I'm still probably going to go with 2 of the 4 of the kickers and defenses. Quincy Enunwa, more than likely. Bilal Powell getting a lot of run right now. Somebody else that I think is very viable because of the pass game usage that he gets. Full PPR on DraftKings, 6 targets last week, and one of them was a touchdown, showing tremendous balance on the catch and run to the end zone for Bilal Powell. I'm not as big a fan of Isaiah Crowell as most other people. Yes, he was involved in the passing game a little bit last week, but you're going to see usage like this most of the time. Not really going to get a 20 to 25 carry game, not really going to get a 20 touch game. You're going to have to pay a premium. Anderson, a downfield threat, not getting enough targets, but if you're playing single game showdown, just like we saw from Tavon Austin over the weekend, he only got 2 targets, but one of them was a really long touchdown and kind of breaks your lineup if you're looking to go that route in tournaments. Not really a cash game play for me. Callaway versus Njoku versus Higgins. This is going to be the interesting argument because everybody's going to remember this. All the game log watchers are going to remember this right here. This 47-yard touchdown catch in the 4th quarter, and they're going to look at this and say 17.8 DraftKings points, and man, that's the guy I want to have. He's priced up. He is playing a bunch of snaps, especially with Gordon gone, but he's playing about the same amount of snaps, running the same amount of routes, doing all the same sort of things as is Rashard Higgins. I prefer Callaway in terms of raw athleticism. I think that he's a better NFL player, better in terms of being a big-time wide receiver. But right now, 7 targets for Higgins in the first game since Gordon was gone. They played about the same amount of snaps, but 9.7 doesn't look as pretty as 17 plus. So I think you're getting a good value here on Higgins. For GPP to maybe come off of one of the kickers and go with Higgins for upside. In tournaments, you don't want to go 2 kickers or 2 defense or kicker defense. You more want to go with maybe a defense, which gives you the upside because of the possibility of return touchdowns or interceptions or fumble recoveries for touchdown, and go with 5 position players. I think that Higgins opens that up for you. My chat is going off about Pryor because of his 8 targets last week. He is a sizable wide receiver. He is an ex-quarterback, as we all know. Mandatory mention of him used to be a quarterback. But if you love Narrative Street and you want to take a stroll, this could be a very distinct revenge game for Terrell Pryor at a kicker price. Good option to replace one of the kickers for your GPPs or one of your defenses for the GPPs. So let's kind of fill out the cash game lineup real quick. So we got the Browns defense. Let's put that kicker back in here. Let's see what else we can build. We have 8.1K. Carlos Hyde getting a lot of run. Bilal Powell getting a lot of run. Has not been utilized in the passing game at all. I know they have Duke Johnson, but it's not like Duke Johnson has been utilized in the passing game either. which is kind of strange. Where's Duke? 2 targets and 6 targets. 8 targets through 2 weeks for a guy that I think should be getting 6-7 targets a week for this Browns offense. It's somewhat anemic. You know, all these guys are GPP priced, essentially. You look at every one of these dudes, and they're all kind of GPP priced, and it's very interesting to me, at least what you can do in terms of tournaments, because this is going to be a low-scoring game. So I want to stack as many targets as I can, and David Njoku with another 7 targets at tight end, you know he's going to be a red zone threat if they can get into the red zone, has not really exploded yet, right? Long of 8. This is an extremely athletic tight end who can A, get down the field on the seam, and B, break tackles and make long runs because of how fast and athletic he actually is, as well as being a big target in the red zone, but hasn't been deployed yet for the Browns. I'm interested to see when his breakout game is going to come. At 4,600, I'm definitely interested in him this week, giving me 11.7, which opens this up right here, right? So for cash, I think this is going to be a very standard build. Somewhere in this range. You might not see this kicker. You might not see the Browns. For 3,400 at 40, you know, we can still get Terrell Pryor in this lineup and have a higher upside but lower floor cash game lineup, right? Because the low expected touchdown total in this game, maybe 4 total touchdowns in this game with a few field goals. So the kickers present you with a solid floor for this sort of a matchup. The Browns defense has been extremely aggressive. One of the better defenses in the league so far with 3 sacks and 4 sacks in the first 2 games. And look how many interceptions and fumbles they've caused over the first 2 weeks against 2 very, very good offenses in the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints. So now they get a rookie quarterback that they get to mix things up and really go after full bore with the young athletic players that they have here in Cleveland. I'm kind of excited for this Browns defense. I think that they're going to be a greatly improved unit. I tweeted out this weekend that I think maybe the Browns are better on defense than we all assumed they were. I wasn't saying that we thought they were the worst defense in the league. We all thought that they were going to improve with time and the young players that they brought in through the draft and everything else. But for them to take the jump that they've taken, right, and allow 42 points in weeks 1 and 2 to Pittsburgh and New Orleans total, they're way better, you know, and to cause the 8 turnovers that they've caused through 2 weeks against those 2 offenses and get 7 sacks in the meantime. This defense is way better than expectation, and to allow the Saints, 275 total yards from scrimmage, insane. In the dome, insane. So I prefer the Browns defense to a kicker this week. Chat, what do you guys think? What do I think of being contrarian at captain to try and ship a tournament? Is it stupid? In a game like this, no. In a higher scoring game, I probably think that you shouldn't do that, right? I think that in a higher scoring game, it's going to be funneled to the usage is going to be a faster paced game. The usage is going to be funneled where it's supposed to be funneled. In a slower paced game, when one touchdown can kind of break everything, if you had Austin in your captain spot this week for Sunday Night Football, it made things look a lot different, and you saved all the money and you just stacked all the stars. Whether or not that panned out for you, I don't know, but let's take a look, right? So, like, if you have David Njoku, like, let's look for a cheaper guy. If you have David Njoku, if you go with Pryor at captain, I would not put a kicker there. If you want to go with like the Browns defense, if you want to go with Njoku at 6K, Bears defense was the best captain last night. Yeah, see, like, you can do it. And again, like I said, in a lower scoring game, when there's less snaps being played and less plays being played and less scoring, not as many extended drives, so not as many targets or rushes or everything else, Bears defense makes a lot of sense on a slower paced game. So Browns defense here, Njoku here, probably not a kicker because they don't have the massive upside that a defense really has unless a kicker kicks like 4. Vegas line has Browns favored by 3. Yeah, but it's like the total's 39, right? So they're not expecting a lot of scoring. It's like 21-18. It's not a high scoring expected game here. So if you go with a cheaper guy, that allows you to just slam in him and him and him, and you still have 6,000, right? You can slam in Hyde, and then at 4,400, Ooh. No, he's higher. You'd have to go with like Pryor. There's a lot of things that we can do here for Thursday night that is different than the standard cash game build. And you'll notice in this one, there's absolutely no kickers. So I think that kickers hold value in a lower scoring game as well, because there's not going to be as many touchdowns, which means more field goal opportunities. Drives are going to stall. These teams are not great on offense. I don't mind if you don't play this slate, guys. Single game showdown is a game that I really like to play when there's a lot of scoring. Two high scoring teams, two really good teams that, on island games. And you're not going to see it at the beginning of the year because of the way that the NFL TV rules work. They have to get every team on a primetime game. So they jam two bad teams when they're on the schedule onto a Thursday night game early in the year to check that box off, right? So that they've had their primetime game. This might be a slate that you want to sit out, but there's 250,000 up top, so I'm probably going to play the tournament. Probably not going to play head-to-heads. Definitely not going to play double-ups in this one. I think that the margins are too slim. But for tournaments are tournaments, man. Let's try and win that money. Thank you all for joining. I appreciate you guys being here. Really, once again, I really appreciate all the support on the channel. It looks as though we're going to have a chance to pass 10,000 subscribers this week. If you guys like the content and you're new to the channel, please click that subscribe button. Hit a like on this video. The subscribe button's right up there. I'll link you to my first look video right here for week 3, so you can watch the rest of the players that we liked on Monday, leading up to the full Sunday slate, which I absolutely love. So thanks for joining, guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye.